Oh, is she?
Not so good.
What, on a scale of 1 to 10? 10's the worst.
Jimmy.
Come on, 1 to 10.
6. Maybe 7.
7.
Near a 6.
Good morning, darling. So, can we talk about...
Names. I'm definitely erring towards Poppy.
I said Poppy first. Oh, please, a November baby called Poppy. It's as bad as A Christmas Carol.
Me and Eva were like, what about the other victims, you know? You gotta do the right thing. They're easy.
It's okay. It's okay. There's no harm done.
Any moron could see she wasn't gonna fit through there.
It'll get easier.
Yeah. Yeah, because like one day you're building your life around a ray of sunshine, and the next day you have to pretend she's dead, even though she's not dead. You get all the grief anyway, and you're still bereaved anyway.
I know, it's brutal.
And the fact that it's my fault that Vivian has to go through all this just makes me feel... it's great.
Triclaxis, trials aimed at producing a safe and efficient drug that combats the scourge of asthma, totally controllable, substantially remunerated, not to mention the thousands of little wheezers potentially breathing free, all the medical know-how and wizardry of this place, the university, and Trelawney Wells, safe as houses, and we could end up with a new drug that immeasurably improves the lives of millions.
Yeah, and we all know what millions interest Trelawney Wells.
Last of my homegrown black peppermint.
There are organic peppermint tea bags in the posh supermarket. Ordinary peppermint, though, not black.
Listen, about this timing issue. You both know what I think. But this other thing...
Not today. It's not a good day for deep thinking. It'll likely be foggy this afternoon. It's the forecast. Fog's not good for clear thinking.
When then, oh weather-dependent oracle?
You could be wrong.
I've seen them together.
Look, this is supposed to be a happy time. Let's take our minds off negative topics with a spot of exercise.
Yes, that's what we should do. Positivism. Refresh the psyche.
Stop us from talking about what's really on our minds.
Keeping our blood pressure low and setting us up for the day, I mean. We don't want to pick over it now.
His junior clerk.
Listen, we're all in a place where our hormones are trying to make us be rash and overly emotional.
Her name's Courtney.
Can't we battle these hormonal ambushes with Wagner?
Left leg.
And relax. And the right leg. Hold it. And relax. Keep breathing.
Jimmy says his love.
We can't even say hello to each other. It's preposterous.
It's not worth it, Vivian.
Oh, heaven forbid I should be reassured by a friend. Obviously, that would be a vicious, underhand collusion. I know Dr. Clayfield's responsible. This is too awful.
It's only until after he's been called. You do know that Jimmy's testimony may not be easy for you, don't you?
Oh, yesterday was easy. Oh, what a family. You've got a grandfather telling a judge and jury that his grandsons are aberrant and deviant. And as for the grandmother...
We'll hang back a minute.
Sure you don't mind?
Ruby, I have no emotional attachment to my bagless upright. Knock yourself out.
Does it need empty?
Duh, what do you think? I've lost my ironing board.
Stop pretending to be so useless. Inside, there's a regular Martha Stewart trying to get out.
The only thing I'm good at is keeping the sink clean. I've got a special tool.
Do it a bit at a time. Keep on top of it. Do it my way.
Don't you think we've all had too much in common already?
Don't start. Nesting?
Heaven forbid. I'll catch up with you two at the Quacks later.
Why? Where are you going?
Just thought I'd pop into town and see how his new clerk's panning out.
I wish you'd leave it.
I wish I could.
And had you seen cut wounds like those Mary Lambton had suffered before, Dr. Clay?
Yes.
Where?
On Miss March. The similarities were striking. It was exactly as if it had been done by the same person.
My lord, I respectfully submit that Dr. Clay is a general practitioner, not an expert in soft tissue injuries, and is therefore not competent to draw forensic conclusions of that nature.
You must ignore Dr. Clay's conclusion. He is not sufficiently expert to draw it.
Thank you, my lord.
Describe the cuts you saw on Mary Lambton, if you would, Dr. Clay.
Mary Lambton suffered a series of deep parallel slash wounds on the forearm. She was also cut on the thighs and vagina.
And on the day you called on Miss March, did she require any medical attention?
Yes, one of the parallel slash wounds on her forearm was deep. It was so deep that she was unable to stop the bleeding. I glued the cut and dressed the area.
And what day was that?
That was the Monday.
You're very definite. You remember the day clearly?
Yes, we were all waiting in work to hear about a driving test, and she didn't call. I went round to see her because when I did speak to Vivian, she said that she hadn't taken the test and that she'd been burgled, and obviously I was concerned.
Did Miss March ask you to go to her home?
No, in fact she told me not to go. She said she'd be okay, but like I say, I was concerned.
Were your concerns justified when you got there?
Well, at first I thought it was just the nastiness of having someone break into her home.
At first?
Well, she was trying to be brave, keep up a pretense, but she was extremely distressed.
Did Miss March offer any explanation for her distress?
Well, she tried underplaying everything, but she needed my help to stop the bleeding. And then she made me promise not to tell anybody.
Not to tell anybody what?
And that's not remarkable. Most women's first reaction is to hide it, to pretend it didn't happen, to go into denial. That's normal.
What did Miss March tell you, Dr. Clay?
She said that the boy did it, and she told me that she'd been raped.
Get out of the way. Gotcha, you conceited twerp.
Whilst I utterly appreciate your professional admiration for Miss March, Doctor, I'd like to know how you describe your personal relationship with her.
Well, Vivian's my colleague.
You seem to have shown an inordinate amount of concern for someone with whom you share solely a professional association.
We're friends as well.
Good friends?
Very.
The sort of friend who pops round on the off chance when he thinks there's trouble?
I knew there was trouble.
Even though Miss March had told you that she was fine and she didn't need you to go and see her.
I could tell she was on edge. I was happy to be a friend.
She's a lucky woman.
I was the doctor who treated her surface injury and the co-worker with whom she confided her ordeal. Now, we're friends, yes. That doesn't change the fact of a physical injury, nor that I was the first person that she unburdened herself to. I believe I dealt with both these issues professionally.
Would you say Miss March enjoys a stimulating life?
My lord, I fail to see how this line of questioning will elicit admissible answers.
Miss Jameson?
I'm merely seeking to establish, my lord, the pertinence of Miss March's life being generally lacking in momentous events.
Carry on, Miss Jameson.
My lord. Dr. Clay, would you describe Miss March's life as thrilling?
My lord, the witness's answer can only be speculation and opinion.
Put another way, can you remember Miss March ever describing to you a thrilling event in her life?
No, but
No. Isn't it understandable then that she should be tempted just this once to add a little kick to her life? To write herself into a leading role, to experience the full benefits of your attentive, caring friendship.
that's nonsense, and you know it is.
can't settle to anything today.
Vivian.
Yeah. Jimmy's probably given his evidence already.
Let's hope they don't stitch him up.
How?
Well, the defence could discredit any of Jimmy's evidence by citing his personal attachment to Vivian.
What?
Partiality. They could use their closeness to taint his interpretation of events.
Why would they do that?
That's what they do. Twist, trip and trap. It's all about high-risk strategies and clever lines of cross-examination.
It's about 2 women who've been raped.
Oh, you have to understand. It's all part of the game.
It's not a game.
It is to them.
Miss Alexander.
Yes.
Oh, Ruby Alexander.
That one's me.
Just come through.
That's her. That's them. Look, don't tell me you can't see it.
Heather Alexander.
That's me. After, we need to talk.
Right, I'm looking for Anne Alexander.
3 Ms. Alexanders. What are the chances of that? You're with me.
Better buy a lottery ticket.
I know. Hey, check this out.
You've always been a good friend to me. And that Jameson woman isn't going to sully that.
Okay, personally, I choose to believe that most jury members are more than half human.
And they're much good.
You've got to move on. Grandfather's evidence should be the clincher. So, you both want coffee?
What I want is for this to be over. And for that hideous woman to have finished with her tricks and her cleverness and catching people out. I want it to be over and done with.
Do you think they're a sect or something?
Valentine Alexander, same address. Valentine Alexander, same address. Valentine Alexander, in 3 houses on the same street.
Yeah, and those 3 houses are all next door to each other, and he's a barrister.
Or get out of town. Oh, Valentine, my learned friend. Bullseye with them their Cupid's arrows.
How can they all be like, at the same time?
Well, it is normal for the women living in the close proximity to find that their menstrual cycles are falling into unification, yeah? Therefore, if the women ovulate at the same time...
Then they all conceive at the same time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, with the presence of the sperm.
Well, Valentine Alexander must be very...
3 arrows, 180.
Fecund.
That is another word for it.
He's not unattractive. And he's exceptionally persuasive. He never loses an argument. He's Queen's Counsel.
Oh, I don't suppose a refuse collector could afford 3 wives.
He's made it his business to know everything there is to know about the female orgasm.
Which he's been putting into practice with 2 other women at the same time as making the earth move for you.
We thought it was post-liberated. Well, that's how he sold it to us, anyway. Claimed he loved all 3 of us and vowed to remain faithful.
What are you, the Stepford wives?
We're not wives. None of us married him.
Oh, that's something.
But don't you think it'll be wonderful in the spring? 3 prams in the garden. It's a glorious garden. 3 houses knocked into one. Ruby's growing veggies and herbs. Anne's ordered a beehive off the internet. We'll have our own honey. As soon as I can bend again, I'm going on a bricklaying course so we can have it traditionally walled all the way round.
And keep out the real world.
I don't want the real world. I want our world. The one we 3 have made together. You have no idea how precious that is to me. 3 little girls playing together, with 2 aunts and a mother at home. Don't you think that'll be...
Sorry, you want me to tell you that you're not delusional?
I want you to tell me to stop being such a nip-my-own-muesli Guardian-reading wimp and confront the sex-mad, lying, overeducated git.
And you've waited until the last minute to reach this decision because...
I've tried, but I've let them stop me. I didn't want to force Anne and Ruby into seeing him for what he is. After the timing thing, I thought... But they both say they can get over that. I can't.
Timing thing.
Last week in the Spirit of the Beckhams, we were talking about interesting and meaningful names.
Yes.
I fancied Tuesday because, you know, it's a bit Hollywood. And she was conceived on a Tuesday. Turns out we could have all used the same name. Or we could have been more time specific and called them breakfast, lunch and tea.
All on the same day?
He'd won a case. Apparently grinding your opponent's face in the dirt is a stunning aphrodisiac.
But you'd already agreed to this multiple setup. Surely you realised that simultaneous pregnancy was a possibility.
Not this simultaneous.
Nonetheless, you entered into this agreement freely.
I know.
Well, then I'm sorry, but complaining about the man and the outcome now is a little churlish.
Ah!
Nearly over.
Heather's the one who can't get it out of her head. She says it's sex, not love.
And now, of course, she's taken to following him. She took a picture.
Could you do that, Dr. Granger?
Could you bonk a clerk called Courtney?
Oh!
It's 9 minutes past 2.
Excuse me, am I keeping you from your lunch?
Your contractions are 3 minutes apart.
I want Anne and Ruby!
Yes, I get that.
Please tell me there's some good news for a change.
It's a text from JJ.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's good news. He's thinking of doing some studying.
Great.
Yeah, maybe he's about to turn his life around.
So what's brought that on?
Oh. Do you know what? I think I'd have to say, ultimately, Archie.
Is there any point going out for lunch?
No, traffic's bonkers. I reckon it's the first day of Christmas madness.
Right, who's up for lunch? Christmas menu at the Icon apparently is lush.
Yeah, well, maybe we could take a leaf out of Archie's book and walk down. Where is everyone?
Overrunning.
Daniel, Heston and Lily are all seeing pregnant ladies called Ms. Alexander.
We should buy lottery tickets.
I know, Michelle said that. What are the chances? Should we do a syndicate or stick in a quid?
That's the brooch the police found at my house.
Is it your brooch, Mr. Parker?
No, it ain't. I never saw it before the old Bill pulled it out from under the bed. That and all the other stuff, that thieving little bat... Sorry.
Turning to the 16th of June, Mr. Parker, can you tell me where you were that day?
Home.
Not at work?
Well, I'd take me fortnight in June before the schools break up.
And did you have any visitors that day?
Well, I never saw them, if that's what you mean. I told that copper. I hadn't seen Ryan for over a week. He was there afterwards, mind you, hiding those poor women's stuff under my spare bed.
My lord.
I didn't have to see him. I know what he's like, I know what he's done.
Must I tell you again, Mr. Parker?
All right. This is what I saw. No sign of Ryan or Lee in my house on that Monday. So when they told the police they was there, they was lying.
Thank you, Mr. Parker. I appreciate this hasn't been easy for you.
I appreciate how difficult this is for you, Mr. Parker. I'll be as brief as I can. Were you involved in your grandson's upbringing, Mr. Parker?
Dragged up more like.
Did you contribute financially to the family? Money for your ex-wife, your daughter or her sons?
I did what I could.
I'm sure. But the truth is, isn't it, that those boys endured a pretty meagre home life?
Well, I gave her money, but she spent it on fags and gin.
Her?
Their grandmother. I always had my hand in my pocket. Money for games, consoles, money for trainers, but they never saw it. I wanted stuff for them.
I'm sure you did. It wasn't important what you wanted, though, was it, Mr. Parker?
Is it any wonder they went on the rob with a mother nowhere and a grandmother like that, daft with drink?
Were your views often ignored?
Oh, that poisonous bitch never listened to anything I had to say. Nobody could control those boys. Not once she'd done her bit.
I don't think this is difficult for you at all, Mr. Parker, is it?
Eh?
I think this is the opportunity you've been waiting for.
You what?
Why have you been so helpful to the police?
Because it was the right thing.
Or was it your opportunity to finally have your say, Mr. Parker? Are you in court to do the right thing, or to score points in a bitter personal battle with your ex-wife?
Don't worry, they won't be long. You're going to be fine. It's okay.
We're Melody and George.
Got the icon.
Listen, Valentine's a philandering tart. He's a liar. He doesn't love us. We are worth more than this.
Heston, you take your Miss Alexander back to your room. Michelle, you with him. Daniel, take Julia as backup. You'll be fine.
Rubes, I'm sorry.
Ruth?
Is she helping you?
Yeah, I'll get the mop.
Mary Lambton was raped, beaten, cut, disfigured, and left for dead. The victim of appalling sexual violence and brutality against a helpless elderly lady. But Vivian March has shown herself to be far from helpless. She did identify Ryan Parker. Her robust and forthright evidence in the face of deep and humiliating discomfiture is a credit to her. I ask you, members of the jury, is there any possible reason why she would endure torment beyond the actual event, were it not for her deep belief in justice? Is Vivian March a fantasist? I hope you think not. Does Vivian March deserve your respect? I know she does. Vivian March's property was recovered from the home of the accused's grandfather. How did it get there, if not hidden by Ryan and Lee? Where were they when Miss March's home was broken into and when she was attacked? They have no alibi. They were not with their grandfather. Why lie?
He's a pig! Liar! Oversexed, egotistical swine! Unspeakable pillock!
It is not for Ryan and Lee Parker to prove their innocence, but for the prosecution to establish their guilt beyond all reasonable doubt. Have they? Gregory Parker is a man clearly motivated by malice. Resentful and spiteful, he came into this courtroom with a score to settle. He hoped to use these proceedings to win a rare personal victory. I ask you to give his evidence exactly the weight it deserves. None. And then we come to Vivian March. Spinster and fantasist. Here the accusations against these boys are muddied and confused by the hysterical, theatrical outpourings of a woman who has seized on an opportunity. She's built her part in this unfortunate drama and convinced her overly caring and attentive friend and colleague, Dr. Clay, that she is a needy and helpless victim. Their friendship and personal involvement may have blinded him to the possibility and influenced his judgment, but as you heard, even he recognizes he is not impartial. Did she report the rape to the authorities? No, she did not. Did she originally deny that she had even seen her supposed attackers' faces? Yes, she did. Could she have inflicted her knife wounds on herself? Clearly, she could have. Her accounts of the events of that day have changed and altered over time. She saw two boys. She couldn't identify two boys, then she could. Yet she was incapable of describing the knife she claims was held to her throat as she was raped. Convincing. It is not for Ryan and Lee Parker to prove their innocence, but for the prosecution to establish their guilt beyond all reasonable doubt. Have they?
I'll have to leave. I'll be the one who goes.
You don't know that.
I can't do it anymore.
No, but you can fight for what you want. Your idyllic world. You owe it to yourself and your friends. And your daughter.
Together we are fantastic.
So tell them.
Wheel me over. Ladies, I don't want to lose you. I love you. We can do it together, can't we? Can we try?
Right. That was Ronnie.
Well then.
Fancy coffee or something? A drink?
No, I'd rather go straight home.
I think we'll have the verdict tomorrow. Every chance we'll get a conviction. I'm sure. Oh, I'm sure. Custodial.
Mr. Woodson, please. Don't start lying to me now.
What are we going to do?
We're the mothers of his children. We have rights.
And we have each other.
3 strong women. Together.
His junior clerk.
Don't forget your toothbrush.
In the spotlight tonight is Leslie Edge from Leatherhead, a secretary, and her...
Ah, but we may have the answer. First of all, though, here are a few garlic facts.
I'm being paid to take drugs. Drug trials.
I just think that you should prepare yourself for the strong possibility that today might not go your way.
I told you about that bloke I met on one of them.
What bloke?
The one whose arm fell off.
Shut up.
Have you reached unanimous verdicts on all counts against both defendants?
Too drunk to remember, but did a surgeon kill a colleague? Diagnoses murder next on BBC1 Scotland.